Hello, everyone. Let's talk about that famous topic, being overweight. You hear about this from somebody, I'm sure, all the time, perhaps even daily. So let's start by saying, or let me start by sharing with you that being overweight is really an accumulation of water and fat, because also the body naturally carries about 60% water and is supposed to carry, 10 to, 18% fat, maybe a little bit less than that, depends on the person. Now, water represents mother because it was your first contact with water while you were in the womb. Fat also represents mother because fat represents protection. So, the questions for you would be, who or what are you trying to protect yourself from? That you have created this extra pounds in your body weight. Let's do some math for a minute, because there's all kinds of mathematical loopholes to all of this, and a whole lot of loopholes, period, to this topic. Let's say you're 35 years of age, and I ask you, how much weight do you feel you need to lose? Don't give me, the number, don't give me a number of pounds based on statistics, profiles, what the doctor says. No, what does your gut tell you you need to lose? So you say to me, Teresa, 15 pounds. So take 15 pounds from 35, and that's 20. So again, my question to you would be, what did you experience at 20 years of age? What happened? What happened to you? Some people don't stop to think that something did happen and you have forgotten or don't remember or have put it back there somewhere and don't recall it. Or because water and fat represent mother, what happened to your mother at 20 years of age? Do you know anything about that? Or what happened to whom you are a double of in your ancestral tree at that age? Or what happened to you at 15 years of age? Or what happened to your mother at 15 years of age? Or what happened to your double or doubles at 15 years of age? Now, let's say you're 30 years of age and you need to lose 40 pounds. Well, at that point, you would divide 40 into 20 kilos, because 20 kilos is very close to 40 pounds. So again, the question would be, if you're 30, what happened to you at 20? Same questions. What happened to your mother? What happened to who your doubles are? That you are repeating, that kind of thing. What if you gain, you hear people saying, well, I got married and I started gaining all this weight. Now, this is something to consider. Who does your spouse symbolically represent in your family tree? Who is your spouse a double of? That's something to think about. And does this person, spouse that you are married to now, represent someone that you feel represents someone that didn't protect you? So is your spouse representing symbolically someone that you feel didn't protect you? Do they symbolically represent your mother? And now you feel that you're going to have to protect yourself because perhaps this person's going to leave you in some way and be abandoned. And I say that because perhaps you had a loss of your mother at a specific age that's linked to the number of pounds you need to lose or when you started to gain it. And because you lost your mother, you have no more protection. No more protection, no one to protect you. So you have to create it yourself. You have to protect yourself by creating extra pounds, extra weight. You feel mom didn't protect you enough, or mom didn't support you enough. And so again, you feel the need to protect yourself and support yourself with extra cushioning is what I call it. Were there any separations in your life? Separation of, yes, a relationship. Perhaps you moved away and that caused you to separate from family. And that separation itself represents feelings of abandonment. Another cause, sexual abuse. Boy, sexual abuse is big on this topic. Because it's a way the person protects themselves from anybody else ever touching them, or perhaps it's their way of not being appealing to anyone. They don't want any contact with anybody, and so they create this barrier of extra pounds, again, to protect themselves, defend themselves. Perhaps there's a lot of mental abuse that goes on, a lot of judgment, criticisms, that type of thing. And so the person feels, well, if I carry more weight as a way of protecting myself, then I won't get hurt as much. It's amazing, what the mind will do and how the body will correspond to the mind. Perhaps you as a child experienced a lot of hunger, or perhaps your ancestors as children experienced a lot of hunger, or your mother. And now you feel you have to eat to reserve, because tomorrow there may not be any. Perhaps you have developed sugar problems, an addiction to sugar. Addictions also have a lot to do with mother and other things. So now you have this addiction to sugar because there hasn't been any sweetness in any experiences you've had thus far, kind of a belief system. So you feed all this sugar, and of course that creates extra weight. One last interesting root cause that's possible is abortions, miscarriages that occurred before you were conceived. So did your mother have any abortions or miscarriages sometime before the time that you were conceived? Because that represents, an unborn child. And so perhaps the loss of this unborn child was not grieved by the person who lost it via a miscarriage or an abortion or something, and it's not been grieved. So, believe it or not, that unborn child transfers itself over to a new family member, the next person being conceived and born, because the memory is in the DNA. Now, I've worked with these cases of one-on-one of someone carrying an unborn child. And I have worked with cases where it was actually the abortions and miscarriages of the biological mother, but I also found them to be in the double, whoever their double is. Like I found them in a grandmother, I found them in a great-grandmother, or someone else they're a double of. So I have actually had experience in working with this. So sometimes it's not always going to be the mother. It could be a grandmother, a great-grandmother, or whoever you're a double of. Perhaps it's one of your aunts. So anyway, these are all some of the root causes of why a person is overweight. So ask yourself these questions, and you will be able to discern and discover it. And remember that creating a family tree doesn't mean you have to get all fancy and elaborate and all that, like you have seen. It's about making 2 columns, one maternal line, one maternal column of all the birth dates you know of who, all the death dates you know of who. Sit with it, discover it, discern it. Do your self-work, and you will learn where it's all coming from. Thank you for listening, and be well.